Yeah, so we're going to be recording a couple in bulk because we're currently in the process of moving, so it's going to be a little difficult to record these podcasts just for the next month or so. So for us, anyways.
Yeah.
So we're going to make it as easy on us as possible, as well as many of these might not have intros because we're just going to go and chop it up. So feel free. So wait, hold on. Welcome to episode 96.
Although I have been skipping the intro.
Oh,
anyways.
I was going to say, remember when people walked up to the door?
Yeah.
That wasn't a part of the next pod.
I know. I was thinking about how to do that. I think I just skipped over it because there was no video or something. Oh, no, there was video, right?
Yeah, there was video.
There's no audio.
Well, I know it recorded us. I think it didn't record you guys. Well, you guys
I wasn't sure how to do it.
Back there.
Something. The footage exists. I don't know if
is that edited? We mentioned it in the pod later on, but I was like, oh shit, but we didn't actually see
it would have just been like at the beginning. It would have been something cool.
Yeah.
The camera audio probably would have picked us up.
I just felt like it was too, like, without context. Maybe, I don't know. There's a way to make it work, I guess.
Yeah, there's probably a way to make it work. But you know what? We can't make work, and what we're going to get down to the bottom of, because everybody's talking about it right now, a big question, because as a society, men are as dumb as we are tough. And so there's a big percentage of men right now that think that 100 men could kill a gorilla.
Yeah.
You put them in a room. I'm going no weapons. We don't have man-made weapons. Just fists. Men against gorilla.
Yeah.
So here at the Mines, the Empty and Mini, we are here to pose this question to ourselves because I want to know what the big boys here think. Because as we all know, Christian he'd rather obviously die before any gorilla takes over, as he said multiple times.
That is true. That is
Planet of the
my
Apes will
thoughts
not
on
happen
that.
in his world because he'll nuke them.
So the whole debate is, okay, so who would you think would win? My first question is, a man can't do a whole lot of damage to a gorilla in the first place.
However, the same is true of the gorilla. Gorillas have more fur than humans, but other than that, they're just as vulnerable to all damage types, and on occasion get one-shotted by leopards.
But if you throw a 100 men, and let's say 100 men are going for the gorilla's eyes, you know what I'm saying? Like eventually they will win, but a lot of men are going to die. 100 men's a lot. It's a lot of people.
See, the thing is, that gorilla can swing wildly. And he's taken out a bunch of people swinging wildly, even if he's blind.
Yeah.
Now, the big thing, these are my concerns. So we all start, and how do you feel? Are we surrounding him, or are we like he's over here and we're over here?
I think the gorilla will get surrounded eventually.
Yes.
Like naturally, 100, they will get surrounded.
Because the issue that's being faced is all 100 men can't attack the gorilla at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you can't literally, I think maybe like feasibly 15 can probably get their hands on the gorilla at the same time.
But if you can't, like if you start swarming it and grab, because it has fur, so you can grab onto it. Eventually, and like men will die with the strategy, you can crush the gorilla. 100 men, what are they, 220, 200 pounds?
So no, even against unarmed humans, I still think the gorilla is getting beaten down fairly quickly. The human's power stat might be lower than the gorilla's, but it's still far from zero. Lots of comments have pointed out that the humans could try to score a critical hit. And while that certainly is one way to do it, I don't even think you need it. 100 punches and kicks would easily take the dub.
All on a gorilla. A gorilla can push a lot of weight, but not like a couple tons of people. There will be a point where the gorilla is like stuck on the ground, face on the ground, can't move because the guys can just wail on it.
Okay, so you just think immediately people should like grab it and then try to get on the ground and start
I think a lot of men will die, but the men will win in the end. 100? Yeah.
How many men do you think will die before we win?
I would say upwards to like 20.
And 80%?
An angry gorilla. I think a lot of them will be injured. A lot of deaths.
80% survival rate. Now, these are the things to consider. Now, a gorilla can rip your face off with one swipe.
Yeah.
And they also can bite you. And they can like bite your whole face. They have one of the craziest bites out of any animal.
The gorilla's arms are roughly 6 times stronger than a human's, so every swing of their fists has the potential for devastating impact. They also have one of the highest bite forces in the game, outclassing even the hyena.
You want to know? So this is like Tiger King shit. But one time my mom was like doing a cross country like Canada drive, and there was a weird zoo in Saskatchewan, and it was like in somebody's backyard, and they had tigers. They had a lion and fucking wolves.
Jeez.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Weird
with those,
random backyard zoo.
Those kind of animals. Those can be very dangerous.
Okay, so now I want to see where you feel about this. 100 men against one lion.
I think the men would win.
You think the lion?
No. I think in most cases it'll be 100, like the men.
But who do you think would have more casualties? The gorilla kill more men or the lion?
The gorilla would kill more men, I think.
I think the gorilla, just because of blunt force trauma, like one smack from the gorilla's hand, like a backhand, will probably crush the skull of a human. You know? So while that's like a lion has sharp teeth and whatnot,
honestly, I want to put this in one of those video game simulators because they have those where they have like 100 people and then
I should say 4 men can't even beat a fucking silverback gorilla.
Because this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, the dog pile thing maybe, but I don't know. They could really throw some people off. And then it's a matter of actually getting the gorilla down. And then you think these fuckers can jump high and their feet are like hands.
Yeah.
And honestly, if he does this, he could physically kill 3 people.
One big thing about humans is endurance, where like that's the reason where we became such like great hunters in the past, or even now, I guess, is that we could just exhaust animals. And usually it's by running, chasing them. But this would also kind of imply if we're just battling it out, a gorilla will get exhausted. His punches will go weaker because he has way more body mass and muscle to throw around. And we'll just be fucking wailing on him.
Our next guest has over 2 decades of experience studying and researching gorillas.
Well, it's a very interesting question, but I have to say that I would be on the side of the humans in this case. Gorillas come to this with, a ton of power, all that upper body strength. But I think the sheer number of humans that they would be up against and the fact that humans could hopefully coordinate their behavior, tag team, take a little bit of a rest while the gorilla would just be going full steam the whole time would really put the advantage in for the humans. You know what? I might go gorilla.
Yeah, that's where I'm at because I just think one swipe and you can knock 3 to 4 or 5 men out.
The gorilla going like this, that's 3 men. A gorilla going like this, that's 3 men, and that's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, like before you're gonna injure like the gorilla, especially if you injure it, it's gonna react fucking violently towards you, and like I could see 20 to 30 men.
And there's also like if we're just basing this off the street Joes. Like these aren't athletes. This is like us.
It really depends on because a lot of gorillas, it's not like they're all aggressive and angry. Some of them can be cowards.
And when their intimidation attempts fail, they often flee from battle even against lesser foes. So no, even against unarmed humans, I still think the gorilla is getting beaten down fairly quickly.
Because like if you look at gorillas in like zoos and like what you can learn from like the History Channel and whatnot, they're mostly dominant, but like there's always one dominant gorilla over others. And they kind of fight for it. The other ones are subservient.
If we're talking about, like, these are zoo gorillas we're talking about. It's not a zoo gorilla. This is a wild gorilla. And those gorillas, they're fighters. They have to be because they have to fight other things in the wild. So they're all fighters.
Like, I'm thinking about, I've heard so many horror stories with, like, chimpanzees. Like,
but 100 men that's a lot of fucking people. And, like, think, like, in the Colosseum, people were fought against lions. Like, yeah, they have spears and weapons, but like, what is that? Like 3 guys against 1 lion and they take it out?
I think if you saw how powerful a gorilla is, you'd be kind of blown away by it because they're very fucking strong.
I just think they'll get exhausted after the 10th guy.
I don't know about 10th. I think they'll get more exhausted after the 60th maybe, but
they don't have infinite like energy. When you kind of like see them run, they could run really fucking fast for a short burst and then they're out. Then they're walking.
If you think about it, if a gorilla punched a human, they'd probably fly to that fucking tree over there.
Humans are like
it's
fucking 5,000 times smarter than a gorilla though. I just feel like 100 men that are like, do this thing or you're gonna die, they will figure it the fuck out.
But that's the thing though, is we can only do that with tools.
Yeah, this is a brute strength
battle. No, it's more to strategy than just like grabbing a rock or a hammer. You can that's why you can flank it, you can circle it. Like I said, dog pile. I really think man will conquer lion and gorilla at the same fucking time.
I think that's the thing though, is if you're doing that, like this, I think the only strategy is you all just like run at it. Because if you're like pausing at any point, you're giving it time to rest, and it's just going to take
I
out
want to know, Brandon,
all of them.
who do you think would win? 100 men versus one gorilla. Which one, the gorilla or the men?
Maybe the gorilla.
Oh my God, we got 3v1. I think the guys, because 100, I don't know. I just think it's logical. I think when you back a guy up into the corner at a bar, no, I'm just kidding. They will fucking start swinging. There's a lot of animals still in us.
Yeah, but even if we're swinging, I don't think a punch from us can even harm a gorilla.
Gorillas have more fur than humans, but other than that, they're just as vulnerable to all damage types. So no, even against unarmed humans, I still think the gorilla is getting beaten down fairly quickly.
But you know who else fought like a gorilla against 100 men? Mark Carney in the Canadian election. And he won. He fought. He was a fighter. He was a man. He just was at the Down with Webster concert, and I will say that was the nerdiest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. But good on Mark Carney.
I think the nerdiest thing I ever saw was hell's his name? What's his name? The previous prime minister, not Trudeau, the guy before that, Stephen Harper, with his band playing "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yeah, I remember that. That
Oh
was
no,
weird.
that happened.
I remember
Oh
that.
my god,
Yeah, I did.
they're playing like a piano.
Is he the singer?
I think he might have been actually.
Oh my
I do remember
God,
that. That was
no.
funny. I remember
Like
that.
watching it, I was
No.
that was really weird. I was like, what the hell? Sweet Child of Mine.
I'm getting embarrassment from this secondhand.
yeah. So I would but yeah, Mark Carney won, and I don't really.
I don't really know about much that's going on.
Yeah,
Once again, it was a weird thing, and it's like Pierre Poilievre had it. He had it. It seemed like everybody was gung ho for him, but
Yeah.
he talked himself out of the election.
Trump.
He said too much.
Trump ruined it too.
I wonder if that aspect to it is even true. If Trump kind of hurt
He did.
that
Why?
aspect to it, because Trump attacked Canada with all the tariff stuff,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
think
Trump.
universally everywhere in Canada, everyone hates the tariffs. You're like, fuck that shit. So if you're not going to vote for the same party as Trump in that sense, right? And so I feel like that could have, if there's people who are undecided, they might have been like, screw that.
No,
Well,
I
I
do
think that's odd to say, just because they're not the same. Like that might be some people's mentality,
Mhm.
and maybe they share some views, but they're not the same party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I just look at it as they're both conservative, but I don't actually know any of their.
that doesn't mean
beliefs.
like they back each other. They can definitely butt heads against certain things for sure.
Yeah.
Like that, like I think Poilievre even said he's like fighting against Trump and the tariffs. I believe. I'm pretty sure that was said.
Yeah.
But I just really think it was that he couldn't keep his mouth shut, and he kept saying shit other people weren't agreeing with at the time. And it's like he went way too crazy, because I think he went far too like right
Oh,
at
yeah.
the point when Canada isn't that far right.
Yeah.
They are left leaning, but there is a point. So I think he had more right views, and people were like, okay, this is kind of what, but he went way too crazy, and then it just derailed him. And, but Mark Carney, Mark?
I don't actually know.
I think it's Mark.
No,
Okay,
it's Mark.
I don't know much about him, but people seem to like him.
All I know is that his name's on a $20
Yeah,
bill, like
yeah.
you're saying.
No.
So I was like,
was he the
do we
guy from
trust him?
Britain or whatever that was like the businessman?
He was
the
the
banker?
Bank of England. Or no, he was the control.
He was the Bank of England.
I see.
No, he was the what was it? Control. Or,
All I
know.
I used what was it, ChatGPT, to look up what the hell his policies were. I think he might be one of his things might be like, oh yeah, the rent in Canada is a little high, and we'll be working on that potentially. But I don't know what. I haven't paid attention to the Canadian election. I don't know who the fuck these people are.
I've
Once
heard
again,
both of them say that they're like, oh, it's too high, we're going to lower it.
Yeah,
Some
so
stuff.
I guess nothing will really be done.
no.
Yeah.
But people seem to be happy. From what I've seen online, the response is pretty positive. People seem to like
Yeah.
this guy, but once again, at the beginning, people really liked Trudeau.
Mhm.
And then we see how that went. I think majority dislike him, even though at the end it seemed like he got a bit of a boost. They liked his stance on a lot of things too at the end there.
Well, I think it's because he was actually fighting back now because he had nothing to lose. He's just leaving. So we're like, you know,
Yeah, he had a
But-
good speech on the tariffs and then immediately backpedaled.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I will not back down. Anyways, I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to take this on.
Yeah.
Speaking of, okay, so we had Trudeau, who was the younger prime minister out of all of them. So, and people did not like him. Do you think he was too young? Or do you
No.
think he was just not the right candidate?
No, I don't think he was too young.
No.
What was he? Was he early 40s?
Late 40s.
Yeah,
I
he's-
think,
yeah, I think he was the
that's
youngest one.
fine.
He was
That, like,
40 he was
I think
44.
they were probably just upset that he wasn't like maybe going through party lines early on or whatever.
yeah.
But that's fine. 40 is fine for prime minister.
Yeah,
I was just
44.
wondering because he's like the first, like really like that's considered young.
You know what's weird though? The one thing that I've seen, and I've never heard of this because this is just not what I've learned, is that most people, and I don't even know if this is true, but most people in Canada voted like if from younger up until like being like, I don't know, 50, 60 plus or whatever, were all conservative. It was all like older people, like 50, mostly 60 plus, that were voting liberal. And I've never heard of it like that before. Because I always thought it was like, oh, you're liberal when you're young and you get more conservative as you get older, kind of thing. So it's kind of weird because it's like not that.
Mhm.
And I feel like that is kind of a younger thing right now. I see a lot of people like just supporting Trump. I've seen like, I don't know, like Jake Paul and all of them supporting Trump. So I wonder if it is just a thing. I don't
Wait.
know.
I'm sorry, but like those are not people I'd want supporting me. Like I'm like that's my demographic. Like that's my fan base. Fucking the Paul brothers. I'm like, oh fuck. Like
Yeah.
honestly, that like the people that I saw like really supporting Trump were people I would never want supporting me. Like fucking what's his name? He's a big streamer.
Yeah, there was that one streamer that Trump actually got interviewed by.
Yeah.
He was glazed by the guy the entire time. It's like, I don't know what's the name. It's not Aaron Paul. It's Aaron.
Yeah, it is Aaron.
It's Aaron
something.
I don't know who
But
that
yeah,
is, but
he's got
where-
curly hair.
it's the kind of thing where it's like he probably fucks around. He's probably a little. I don't want to go too hard. Like, don't say dipshit, but he's not that smart. I mean, you don't want him to be your number one guy, but whatever.
No, I don't like, and everybody who went and like, no, like, I don't know. Everybody just didn't seem like the kind of people that were smart and could formulate cool sentences. They
No.
all seem like dude guys. You know what I mean? Like, oh, bro, like Trump,
Yeah.
Trump. And then, but then, yeah, it did seem like even during the election, like, who's running against him? Kamala?
Yeah, Kamala Harris.
Like, at least her people formulated sentences and could speak at most of these things, even though I know Cardi B got up there and that's also not somebody. Stop with the fucking celebrity endorsements. I understand,
I
but
know.
honestly, get some people who can talk and formulate sentences and describe policies so that the normal person can understand.
The second I see a celebrity endorsement, I'm just like, all right, I'm not voting for you. I mean, I'm not voting anyways, but I can't even
No,
vote.
I do get it. I think it's like a turnoff when you see like, oh, Harrison Ford has made a statement on Twitter saying he's going to vote for Kamala. It's like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, or like Mark Hamill for like the millionth time on Twitter says something political.
I would love, okay, so now we're getting like 3-time Nobel Prize winner to come speak about something. And then he gets up there and he goes and explains why he likes it and what the policies are. I'd much rather take this intellectual rather than somebody who gets up there and like makes
Well,
dick and fart jokes or
That's
raps
the
about
thing,
ass.
though, is like Elon Musk is crazy smart, but as soon as he got into politics, just kind of, I don't know what the hell's happened to him.
I would
Elon
argue-
Musk has a lot of money.
I would argue he's
That could be that.
He's actually very, very dumb.
He's got a lot of
Well,
money.
I think he's a bit socially off, probably. Doesn't get a lot of things and like just socially awkward a bit. But I mean, he created his own company. He's doing like all the shit he's doing. Like,
yeah, but
obviously
it's
he's-
dad's money.
Is it?
Dad had a diamond mine, and that's how he got started his money, and then he just made other companies off of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
Same
Like-
thing
like-
that happened with Trump.
yeah, Trump definitely. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I got a small loan, $1 million." I'm like,
That's pretty
holy
much.
fuck.
I'm pretty sure Elon got money that was in the billions before he made billions.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But
Yeah, yeah. Ever since the, I think it was the cave situation. Remember the soccer team was trapped in a cave.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the moment I figured I just found out. Oh, Elon's actually he's kind of dumb.
What happened to that?
He offered to build a submarine and got really pissed when they were like, "Your submarine can't work in the cave." So he started ranting on Twitter about it. But like, these people don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then
I guess it depends. 'Cause I'm not sure. Like maybe it would have worked. I don't know.
Yeah, and him
No.
and him faking that he was good at video games.
I know
Yeah.
it's just like stuff like that. It's like, would Einstein do this?
No.
You know what's funny though is that reminds me. Do you remember that story? This was like a long time ago with the miners that were trapped. There was like
I just watched
33
a
of
really
them.
good documentary on that. Yeah.
I remember when that was happening live.
Mm.
Like that was insane. Like watching it on TV and all that, and like they had that little capsule thing or whatever down there, and then they brought them up. And that's terrifying because that rope or something broke and they were just trapped. Like, oh man.
The 31 Chilean miners. What I didn't know was like the extent of because the mine itself, imagine like a very complex like ant tunnel situation where it spirals around like this
Yeah.
all the way down, and there's like little crevices. There was a big block of diorite that collapsed one of the tunnels on the way out, but they still had like a big spiraling cavern they could walk around in. And they were staying in this little pocket tunnel where there's like their camp, like that's where they go when the danger happens. So they were hanging out there, and yeah, and the entire like documentary, like the whole situation is insane. They were trying to like go through the diorite. It was like way too much, too dangerous. They had to block off the mine. They tried to use the air ventilation shafts to actually reach them, but when they were scaling down it, it was so perilous. Like there's rocks everywhere, and like one of them almost fell, and it's like really incredibly dangerous. So they ended up just how long were they down there? Like it was like 2 months before they heard some drilling, and then something came down with and they tied like the sweater to it with a note saying like we are okay, the 31, and then it went up there.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they lost so much. They couldn't even eat proper food when they were trying to
Yeah,
send
I
out
remember
supplies.
that.
They had to like give themselves like glucose injected to their arm just because they'd probably die from eating actual food.
Wow, I vaguely remember this.
One thing they had a lot
like-
of was water, but it was water mixed with oil because that's what they used to keep their machines cool. But yeah, food, they were rationing the fuck out of it, and I'm impressed they all survived.
It took I remember it took a long time to get them all out because there was a lot of talk of like, can they do this and that? Like I'm just remembering from like hearing it on like CNN, all that, and watching it. I don't remember all the specifics, but it was just, I feel like it took a day or two to actually take them all out.
I want to know what
Yeah.
they were communicating because I don't know how, like being down there and then all of a sudden you just hear, so we don't know if we're gonna be able to get you guys. Like I have no idea how it. Like
I
in
know.
that moment, I'd just be like, oh fuck off, like you know what I mean? Like we might just leave you to die because we don't know if we can get you.
It is kind of neat how they sort of reorganize themselves into like their own mini city, where it's like one of them kind of just became a priest. Like he had experience in the past, but he really wasn't like he wasn't a priest in any way. But they all kind of looked to him for like spiritual guidance, and they were joining in prayer often, like every so often.
Oh,
That's very
One of
cool.
them naturally became a leader, even though he was like initially he was like, I'm not cut out for this, but they all still went to him. So it's like a mini city that kind of formed, which is kind of neat.
they made like
Actually.
a democracy.
Yeah, they pretty much, and like I'm amazed that they all kind of got along and whatever. And they actually started to emulate. They turned on the flashlights to like they had like timers and whatever
Oh,
because they did have power, but they didn't know what day it was. So they're trying to emulate sunlight.
that's very cool.
Doing what they can, and that's so
smart.
bleak.
Like that's fucking
Like,
that's
is it-
cool as fuck.
Because like no one, like imagine people in that situation. You're not going to think of doing that shit right away. You're not going to be that smart to do that. You're probably just going to
Yeah,
panic and die.
Well, it truly is just amazing that they were able to rally themselves. And I would have liked to know because there's probably times that tension got high or whatever, and it's just like I wonder if they went to the guy who's supposed to be the leader to figure stuff out like this, and then it's like you imagine like you get into an altercation and you go to the leader and just be like, hey, you guys relax, go pray. And you go to see the priest, and then it's like then you go see the guy who has rations. Like you know what I mean? Like it feels like a weird like. It would almost feel like a weird like town that you go see in like Legend of Zelda, and you go into like a cave. And you got like your merchant behind like a wall that has a piece of wood.
I think they got down to what was it? Every 2 days they would get what was it, half a can or a can of tuna with water boiled until like so it seemed like a broth. And remember, there's little oil in that water.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of have that. Maybe they had some crackers, I think.
Oh, I remember that being a thing. I'm just remembering some
But
stuff now.
It was like 300 calories a day. Or
You were
every 2
talking
days.
about the weight of people and how people have to lose weight to fit in that thing because they were worried about certain things.
Yeah, they brought the strongest people up first just because if something went wrong, they could potentially scale back down the tunnel, which is like scary because like they were like, I don't know,
I know.
like a kilometer, 2 kilometers, maybe more than that.
Yeah,
Like it was
underneath.
really deep. And if you see like I don't know, like the simulation of actually where they were like in this little pocket here. And how to even reach them, they had to drill tunnels like this way, this way, this way. They're looking for them. And like, if they miss, then it's like, well, fuck. They got to, you know, and the time is running out because at this point it's like 2 months, 3 months in. So a lot was at risk. I'm surprised like everybody survived.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy
it's awesome.
fucking story.